Peace, quick little think fast. The fate of a genius is to be a horrible friend. you know, I just speaking on the vibe. Matter of fact, happened on the vibe of how whenever you're really into learning and getting into information, and you're really a person that's you know intellectual. I'm trying to, don't want to just throw any kind of words out there, but but fuck it if I do. As a thing too, sometimes I be being too like tight on myself when I talk. It's like, bro, like calm the fuck down. you know. But like the fate of a genius. As a matter of fact, genius, in essence, derived from, the word genes. In essence, like when our DNA, when all the genes in our DNA is activated, we are that genius, in essence, you know. But how when you're a person that not only just again on the genius level of like naturally, being intelligent and you know having a certain high level of thirst for knowledge, unlike most others. You know what I'm saying? And that's where it's mostly pointing to too. Like some of us have such a high thirst for knowledge that it takes us away from having more of a social life. In essence, because we damn near feel just as good with a book in our hand by ourselves, or listening to a lecture, or learning in some type of capacity. That brings us just as much as bliss as actually dealing with people. And another reason to bring this up too is just to raise the awareness on little different aspects about it. Because another thing too, where you may feel like, well, shit, am I being unhealthily imbalanced? When I'm in this state of being, and I would say it all depends on how you feel. Like, a lot of us say, for instance, like I don't lie to myself. It gets a certain point where being social with people or talking to somebody, or like getting away from the book and all that learning stuff, like it comes a point where it's like, all right, I want to socialize and actually do something. It's very few moments in essence, but it comes that time. But like sometimes some of us may have that moment arise, but then we deny it, you know and that's where it could become harmful. At being, again, I'm not even wanting to use the word over, intellectual in that essence. But again, just when we in this mode of loving to study, make sure that it's purely out of love in those moments, and not floating into a place of, well, you know this is what I usually do, so let me just do it. You know what I'm saying? Or to stay in the blueprint of what I always done, let me study. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, it comes a point where you may actually open up to feel like, all right, I want to be social, do something, go have a drink, even if it's by, because that's how I am sometimes too. Like, even if I don't necessarily go out with somebody, you know, it may still have that effect of where I'm, by myself in essence, but it's in a place where I could still, socialize if I do feel a vibe too, but at least where people around me socialize, and I could just feel a vibe of, interaction and, people, stuff like that. But, you know, uh, it gets a little lonely. Matter of fact, not only just from being, a person who has a strong affinity for learning, people who have a strong affinity for, attaining knowledge, but also just on your spiritual growth in general. Like when some of us, wake up, we, like some of us are more intelligent, because say for instance, for myself, a lot of times I'm going through stuff because I'm dimming my light to make others comfortable. I definitely deal with that energy a lot for myself. Like not dimming my light so I won't come off again worried about what others think sometimes. And it's crazy because I'm very polarized in that area because, you know, I do stuff where people be amazed at how I do things at not giving a fuck what people think. But then I come back around to worrying about some of the most stupidest shit, you know, some of the most minute things dealing with somebody, like what somebody gonna think about, man. It's like, but anyway, what I was speaking to, oh yeah, like that vibe of, you know, dimming my light so others won't feel insecure about how smart I am. You know what I'm saying? But you know, you have that loneliness in essence that comes from that as well. You know, or that, you know, where you just kind of fade away from the social scene. You know, due to the fact that you are really, actually, really intelligent. You know, and sometimes, you know, in order to seem normal, you know, you might try to dumb yourself down. And again, not for lack of a better words, you know, try to dumb yourself down or seem ignorant. Or, you know, it's kind of like how a person in school, like in the hood, where we got like these partners who, in order to seem cool to society, in order to fit in socially, you know, they they uh they ignored the fact of how smart they were, you know, like Brethren, smart. But because it wasn't cool to be smart, it's like, you know, they deny that energy, you know, in essence. And you know, sometimes we could do that in essence, because that's what that is. Like when we dim in our light, you know, uh, you know, dumbing down in essence is it's like to be popular. Like, oh, let me be popular amongst the people who are asleep. So let me put my body in sleep mode a little bit so I could be able to, you know, socialize with them, you know. And again, of course, for the best of our ability, sometimes, you know, we don't uh we don't lower our vibration in essence, but we meet people halfway, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? But again, it's not our job and our purpose. You know, we came down here to turn that light all the way up. You know what I'm saying? To you know, shine to the highest level and the highest of, level of our ability. You know, so we don't want to be, you know, dimming our light or constantly putting ourselves in situations where we dimming our light, because then we're not doing our work. You know, if we constantly, you know, putting ourselves in a situation where we dimming our light, or, you know, being shamed to be who we are, or worried about that somebody gonna think that we think we all that because we smart, so let me not be smart. It's like, nah, you know, we are what we are, you know. As a matter of fact, it's a blessing. Think about how much we denying a blessing. You know, again, like that, like a brother in the hood that, you know, intellectually smart and denying that blessing to look cool to the rest of the neighborhood. You know, it's like, fuck looking cool to the rest of the neighborhood. Like, man, we have a blessing, you know, of having a extremely high insight. You know, like to the point where you may even realize that your insight may be even higher than, you know, than some people who you thought, you know, like who you looked at as an elder, who you looked at as, you know, you getting information from. You not realizing shit, you got a whole bunch of information to teach them and the rest of the world. You know what I'm saying? But because you dimming your light or feeling like, you know, it's a little too out there or something of that nature, you know, you're not following through with it. But realizing again the fate of a genius, you know, in essence is, you know, and just jokingly saying, you know, the fate of a genius is to be a horrible friend. But just basically, you know, you're gonna be a little more disconnected from the social scene, you know, because you have a certain level of consciousness that most people on the social scene doesn't, you know, have or deal with. You know what I'm saying? Does that make you better or this and that? Nah, just make you different. You know what I'm saying? You just vibrating a different frequency in essence. And again, not dimming that light. Now, of course, within the works of, you know, say for instance, connecting with people, like for myself, like I like connecting with people. Universal frequencies, like a part of me, you know, part of being me is, connecting with people, so of course I will protect my energy, and of course I won't dim my light just so others could feel secure. But at the same time, yeah, I do things to kind of just, to be a little more sociable, and not seem like I'm just way in the clouds, because that's part of being grounded, to operate in the physical plane where you're not, where you're able to have, to joke about some shit, or to curse, or to, uh, you know, tap into that human level of existence, while still having, maintaining that higher self connection as well. But again, we're not trying to dim the light just to satisfy some others, you know, or not study or not do what, again, a lot of us have that calling where we just so thirsty for knowledge, so thirsty to tap into certain levels of information, again, and that's why back to another subject of balance and integrating energy within ourselves. Again, it's not going to be no 50-50 across the board for everything. It's balancing it to the uniqueness of your being, but it's the fact that it is going to be balanced nonetheless. So of course, even though I may be into my books most of my time, I'm gonna still have that balance where I'm gonna make the most. So say for instance, if I'm 75% of the time I'm dealing with my books, and then I'm gonna make sure that I get deal with my 25% of socializing. Again, some of us may be some actually may have a close to 50-50 on social life and and dealing with information. But again, to those of us who are in essence, souls that dealt with the mystery schools, we we into the code information, we into, going deeper into knowledge on such a high level where, we love to spend most of our time, reading and learning, you know. And so again, nothing is wrong with this, like when you're doing it out of love, but and say for instance, just in case your ego may try to have you under the illusion, you know, where like, so say for instance, your ego, to create a certain imbalance, it would have you like overly study, so say for instance, when you studying and learning about information, if the feeling ever came over you to like do something else, or like you feel like, man, like I feel like getting out of these four walls, I feel like putting this book down and go take a walk, or then go do that, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't try to force you know the studying, or don't try to force the intellectual vibes. If you're feeling it, and go out, go out and sit outside, go have a drink, go chill with family or friends or whoever, because that's what your higher self, in essence, is asking for at that moment. It's like, we done enough of this reading and attaining knowledge for the day. We done did enough of this uh, learning for the day in this format, because we always learning, but now it's time to go learn from some social experiences. You know, that's another thing too. You know, and what we may forget as well, like there's knowledge in the experience of our day, and in the experience of social, within experiences within social settings, there are lessons to be learned as well. It's not, knowledge and gnosis don't just come from books and somebody speaking about a particular subject of like, oh, magic or code or kundalini, chakras, crystal. Like, it's more than like the code is just all hidden information in just unseen knowledge in essence, or not say unseen, but just quote unquote hidden, but which again the occult is really something that's up front. Like the occult information is the information that shows how basically this matrix runs, like what runs everything. So really occult information again should be upfront information, exoteric, because you got esoteric meaning the inner, and exoteric meaning the outer information. But again, the fate of a genius is to be a horrible friend. But again, realizing that balance in that area, because like again, sometimes I catch myself and I'm like, because all right, let me show you how where like I didn't realize. I say I didn't realize how much I love to deal with information, but there'll be situations where, again, being in my thoughts about it. So I'm in my thoughts about it, looking at it like, all right, this can't be too healthy to just always be studying and being in books like this, like I gotta, want to socialize or do something. So like when I'm in my thoughts about it, I go to try to stop myself from learning, but then I feel like a disconnected vibe, like I'm harming myself. Like it hurt to put that book down. I'm like, well, shit, And then I realize in that moment, oh, that's just my thought. Just analyze, be real with you, trying to throw a fork and shit, and over analyzing, and looking at it like, oh shit, I've been sitting here too long, so let me just get up because I've been sitting here too long, and not out of because I truly really want to and feel the urge to, but more so because of my thought noise saying, hey, you've been sitting here too long, you should get up. Like, and when I go to get up, it's like, nah, it's like, bro, something just pulling me back to picking my pen up and finish listening to a lecture or finish reading a book. And I feel good, sitting there doing that. So I'm like, well, this is genuinely what you really want to do right now. You know what I'm saying? Because again, it's not that I don't think about sex and think about, a connection with, the beautiful, feminine energy, that yin energy, it's all there. But again, I really do, love indulging in information as well. But again, it's that balance. I catch a energy where it's like, go get out and socialize, man. You know, go connect with a queen or something. You know what I'm saying? Go do something. Involving some yin energy. you know. And to each his own. Speaking for myself. Whatever energy floats your boat. But that's what again on that social level, but letting it come to me. And then again on the opposite side, realizing that sometimes the ego could take the place of the studying and be like, oh no, you gotta, to be smart again, and that's how I could tell too, because it's from an ego aspect of, so you could just be smarter or this and that, not out of loving, like, so instead of just feeling the vibe of just wanting to study and just just like without even thoughts popping up, I just want to pick up this book, compared to my thoughts being like, oh, you should really go study this right now, this and that, from an egotistical standpoint of like being smart and intellectual from an ego, like, oh, look at me, I'm smart, and I catch that vibe and realize like, oh no, I ain't going, because in that moment I'm not really feeling it, it's like I'm not even really feeling it, like it feel like I would be forcing myself to pick up a book, like I'm about to go do something else, so realizing this, and it's uniquely different for all of us, in essence. Dealing with again, how much time we spend doing, time, how much energy, we spend dealing with different things, and it's all uniquely, catered to our, vibrational signature, so to speak. Check out my video that I did on vibrational signatures. It's a pretty good video. That's an older video too. But so just the basic message, y'all. Just go with the flow, following your intuition. With studying. Because again, a lot of us come down here, you know, with that vibe of teaching, and with that vibe again, because realizing like good teachers are people who are great students. You know, so that's why it's like as much as people call me teacher. I mean, I get it. But it's like shit. I'm a student. I'm learning just as much as y'all. Like I'm one of the biggest students. Around. As much as my ego would like to be stubborn sometimes about learning from others, like, and which it never was very harsh, but I've saw moments growing up, like more so when I was a youngster, more so in the teenage days, was like, that ego of not wanting to learn from somebody as much, or more so not wanting to learn from a male figure, another man, that male ego. I don't want to learn, because again, it's like somebody, we had this ego vibe of somebody sonning you, like like somebody being like your daddy in essence. It's like, no, you're not my daddy, like that kind of ego vibe. It's like shit, you know, knowing better for sure is like, look, I listen to a baby say goo goo gaga, just to see if there's something in there for me. You know what I'm saying? Could learn from any and all situations, but you know, that's basically it. To those fellow, intellectual beings, to the fellow beings that really love, learning and you know, gaining knowledge and dealing with information. Just always be aware to be doing it through the vibe of genuinely feeling the vibe of wanting to do it. Because socializing is very healthy, as well. And we don't want to get lost into that. Because again, I caught myself, or part of one of my past lives was over studying. While I was studying and dealing with the magic too much to where I didn't, have nobody in my life, you know. Well, basically, I was, lonely because I did, I wasn't socializing. So, again, with that being said, just, again, not just let me just socialize just to socialize, but you know, for the most part, no matter how much we love to get information, there's always gonna have a window that opens up where we like, all right, I want to socialize with another human being, I want to socialize with another soul, you know, and just put this book down or this information down for a second, So when that moment arises, definitely, quote unquote, take advantage of it. But that's basically it. Peace, man. Trying to make sure that's it. Yeah. Cause again, because it came up as a think fast and just more so as I say just a joke, but thinking about like, cause it came to me on different levels of somebody saying it in certain little lecture, so I realized, all right, it's a little message to me, and I should expand on that message. Again, how the fate of the genius, or the intellectual adept, we lack uh, we lack social activity. We're not as strong in that social area, as others. But at the same time, it's us being ourselves, and not just doing it just to be doing it. And again, realizing that's another thing, leaving on that note too, realizing that nothing is wrong with you if you love to get information on that level. Because another thing too, we realizing again, like a lot of us are like the Jehudis, the totes of this time, here to bring forth information and dealing, in that's part of our work where, again, it's out of love, we loving to get the information, you know, but you know, it's a part of the work where we more so like the vessel, like it's less about uh having these personal triumphs, like these personal, like, oh, I did this and oh, I did that, you know, and more so like dealing with this information for the greater good of, you know, this plane of existence, you know. But at the same time, again, not getting lost in the sauce, because we do have you know, we are life, and we do quote unquote have a life. But I don't like to say have, because that means you're in possession of it. How could I be in possession of something that I am? You know, I am life. But what I was gonna say, see, the fate of a genius. I'm speaking about having a life. Yeah, like, all right, you know, while on our, you know, dealing with our ascension and, you know, on our mission, we will, you know, again, we are here on this earthly plane for a reason. So of course we got like our sole purpose that speaks to, you know, a greater and higher good, but we also are in the human body. We also have a, you know, as much as we have a crown chakra, we also have a sacral chakra that desire things and, you know, want certain things and, you know, and want to deal with the pleasures of this physical matrix, you know, as far as sexual pleasures and, you know, again, eating good food or whatever the case may be. That doesn't mean we're being a glutton about it. Again, part of our natural state of being uh, in these physical bodies is dealing with, you know, physical energy and dealing with these physical urges, you know, is to not let these physical urges overtake us. You know, again, it's a balance, because at the same time, because as much as we want to get close to spirit, we don't want to let just our spirit overtake us too, because then we're not going to be doing no work, because we're going to be disconnected from our body. You know, so it's a balance in that energy, you know. But that's basically it. You know, the fate of a genius, and just again realizing that, you know, we are who we are and who we came down here to be, you know, and that vibe of realizing, like, to our ego, you know, our higher self and our true self is very scary, because our ego loves comfort. Our ego doesn't want to grow. Our ego wants things to stay the same. Our ego want to be, you know, just polarized, wrong or right about a subject. Our ego don't like balance, you know, and having to use discernment. The ego just like to say, you know, I'm this and this is the only right information, or I'm that and that is the only, you know, like, it's a balance. Balance. Peace. Happy now. Now's a vibrate, of course. Not too far in the future. Not too far in the past. Right now.